Hello and welcome. My name is Walter Hudson. I'm with North Star Tea Party Patriots. We're a new umbrella organization for all of the local Tea Party groups in the state of Minnesota who affiliate with Tea Party Patriots on a national level. We're here today to announce an event that we're going to be hosting next week. North Star Tea Party Patriots is going to hold a judicial candidate forum next Wednesday, September 29th at 7 p.m. in the City Council chambers of Monticello. To the best of our knowledge, this is the first event of its kind in the history of Minnesota politics. The reason that it's the first event of its kind is because there are many who don't want to see judicial elections treated like any other political contest. George W. Soley, former chair of the Minnesota Commission on Judicial Selection under Governor Jesse Ventura, summarized the concern of the judicial establishment in a 2008 paper entitled "The Threats of Partisanship to Minnesota's Judicial Elections." He began by writing, quote, "Minnesota is now a testing ground for the encroachment of partisanship into nonpartisan judicial elections. Litigation pressed by Minnesotans culminated in the United States Supreme Court decision Republican Party of Minnesota versus White, which freed judicial candidates to voice their views on legal and political issues. Now, Minnesotans continue to debate the impact of that decision and that of its progeny on the state's judicial elections. The central issue is whether increasing involvement of political parties and related interests in judicial elections will diminish the judiciary's ability to be fair and impartial." He later concluded, "Once ignited, the flames of partisanship could overcome tradition and culture. For the third time in the last 60 years, an independent commission has recommended a constitutional amendment to adopt retention elections to improve Minnesota's judicial selection process. Retention elections strike a good balance between independence and accountability and provide more protection against partisanship than the present election system. Minnesotans would be wise to make the change to retention elections now before judicial selection becomes embroiled in partisanship." Unquote. We, the board of the North Star Tea Party Patriots, vehemently oppose judicial retention elections and respectfully disagree with Soley's position. We seek to preserve the right of Minnesota voters to cast ballots for their judges based on an informed decision. We do not believe that the so-called tradition and culture of the judicial establishment is a superior concern to the right of Minnesotan voters to hold their judges accountable for conduct which violates the consent of the governed. Judges are human beings. They're no different than the rest of us. The idea that once a judge dons their robe and takes their seat on the bench, that they suddenly no longer have a natural bias and become paragons of virtue is a denial of human nature. Like all public servants, judges can only be held accountable if appointed by the people through meaningful judicial elections. It is the sustained effort to undermine meaningful contested elections by powerful interests, including the current Minnesota Supreme Court, which has kept an event of this nature, a judicial candidate forum, from occurring before. Think about it. How often have you gone to vote, flipped over your ballot, and seen all of those judicial candidates? Do you know who any of them are? Do you know how they value the state and federal constitution? Do you know how they regard your property rights, family law, the encroachment of Shariah law on Western jurisprudence? Do you know anything about who you are electing to the bench? It's our intention to give the voters in Minnesota's 10th Judicial District the opportunity to answer yes. We have invited all 24 candidates for the open seat in Court 3 of that district to attend next Wednesday, September 29th at 7 p.m. in the City Council chambers of Monticello.